Hey everybody, hope you guys are healthy and safe. So you're watching footage shot with the iQOO 9 Pro right now. Now you should notice that first of all, stabilization is really good, especially considering the fact that I am walking downstairs right now. And also there's a little bit of that shallow creamy bokeh, right? Like this looks pretty good for a smartphone video. That's because this is a 50 megapixel sensor. It's the GN5 sensor, so it has a pretty large image sensor size. And it's built on top of gimbal stabilization, like the one seen in Vivo's X series. So that's why stabilization is really good. And it can get even better. This is just the default mode with the main camera. You can actually turn on ultra steady, which crops into the frame a little bit more. So it's like additional EIS. Let's turn it on. Okay, so now this is an ultra steady mode. You should notice that it's a little bit tighter on my face now because it cropped in a little bit more. But stabilization should be really damn good. Again, I am going downstairs pretty fast right now. Okay, now you're watching footage shot with the ultra-wide camera. So the ultra-wide camera is also a 50 megapixel sensor, but it's that super wide 150 degree lens seen in the OnePlus 10 Pro. Now this is not currently shooting at 150 degrees because by default it crops in a little bit, so it doesn't look as a fisheye, but you can make it fisheye if you like. Okay, so now this is proper 150 degree field of view, like, so you notice a lot of distortion, and also stabilization should be terrible. There's no stabilization at this point. So iQOO is a sub-brand of Vivo, but usually when you think of sub-brands, at least for me, when I think of sub-brands, I think of inferior components. Like, you know, like a Redmi device is not going to have better components than a Xiaomi device. But iQOO is the exception. This is a sub-brand phone of Vivo that actually uses better components than some Vivo flagship devices. Like I said, the 50 megapixel main camera, it's built on top of a gimbal. Even the Vivo X70 Pro Plus didn't do that. The X70 Pro Plus, the gimbal system supports the ultra-wide camera. It's better to have the gimbal system support the main camera because the main camera is of higher quality. The iQOO 9 Pro also uses Qualcomm's Ultrasonic Max scanner, like version 2, and this is much faster than any other in-display fingerprint reader I've tried, including the one in the Vivo X70 Pro Plus. When you register your fingerprint, you only need to tap it once, and when you unlock, it literally unlocks in like a split second. You just have to put your finger on the screen, split second, the phone unlocks. It's faster than anything I've ever used. And then you factor in the 6.8 inch OLED panel, Quad HD resolution, LTPO panel too, so refresh rate can vary. And you have a device that is basically a premium flagship device. The only thing missing here is a proper zoom lens. Other than that, almost everything about this phone is like tip-top premium flagship territory. Let's get to the review. Okay, I should mention that this iQOO 9 Pro, this model here, it's the global version, international version. It's launching in India today, and it will launch in Europe sometime down the line. Now, as usual, I don't know the official price of this phone, but in China, this model retails for around $850 US. So I think in India, you can expect a price that's similar to that $850, $900 range. While in Europe, you're gonna get a markup to maybe like 1,000 euros or something. So this price is definitely on the high side, but then again, you have a premium flagship package. Like I said, the only thing missing, it's a zoom lens. So if you don't care about zoom lens, this phone has all the components that can compete with the absolute best in the industry right now, like the new Oppo Find X5 Pro or the Galaxy S22 Plus devices. So again, this is a 6.8 inch 120 Hz LTPO OLED panel, resolution of 3200 by 1400. I do want to mention that the screen curves on the left and right side a little bit dramatically. Okay, so I have here the Google Pixel 6 Pro and the iQOO 9 Pro. You notice that the iQOO screen right here curves a lot more dramatically than the Pixel 6 Pro's curve. And it comes to a sharper point. The iQOO comes to a little point right here. The corners are a little bit sharp in the hand, to be honest. It is not as comfortable in my hand as a Pixel 6 Pro or a Galaxy S21 Ultra. But then it does look a little bit more dramatic because of the curve. And this is a good looking phone. This is the iQOO like BMW edition, I believe. That's why there are these colors, these three stripes. And they're actually textured. So when you run your finger through it, this is Gorilla Glass Victus on the back. But then you run your finger through the three stripes and there's a little bit of a coating right here that feels a little bit unique. Now, I don't know anything about fancy cars, I don't care about fancy cars. So to me, this is just another back design. But you know, people like Flossie Carter and other people who are into cars, they're probably in love with the fact that this is a BMW themed phone. Now this large camera island is very reminiscent of the Vivo X70 Pro Plus. So this end is a little bit reflective, and then you have two large cameras here. Once again, the main camera, it's a 50 megapixel Samsung GN5 image sensor built on top of a gimbal with an image sensor size of 1/1.57 inch. So it's a relatively large sensor, pulls in a lot of light, and because it's built on top of that gimbal, video stabilization is off the charts. Now photography, the main camera is really good too. You have a shallow depth of field, it's fast to focus, excellent colors, dynamic range, all that. Night and day, the main camera excels. This is a tip-top premium camera. I actually think Vivo right now, they've been knocking it out of the park with their cameras lately, particularly with the main camera. Now the ultra wide camera here, this is a JN1 sensor. Like I said, 150 degree field of view, so it can get super wide, but by default it crops in. Now I still don't understand the need of 150 degree field of view, because when you shoot in this mode, you're getting ridiculous distortion. It's like a fisheye effect. When you shoot video with it, it's jerky as hell. So it's almost like a gimmick, and the fact that by default it dials in a little bit to be less ridiculous says it all. Now the third camera right here, this is a 16 megapixel 2.5 times telephoto zoom lens, so you can get 2.5 times optical zoom. It's great for portraits, but if you're used to zooming deeper, zooming further like I do all the time with the Galaxy S21 Ultra or the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra, it's a little bit disappointing, because anything beyond 2.5 times you're getting digital zoom, and digital zoom just doesn't look that great once you reach a certain point. Everything else about this phone is absolute tip top. So Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 chip, it's a 4 nanometer SoC, the best you're gonna find in Android right now. There's a 4700 mAh battery in there, which is quite large, and it charges at 120 watt speeds, and the charging brick is included with the package. This phone also supports wireless charging at up to 50 watt charging speeds, but you have to buy the official iQOO or Vivo wireless charger to reach those speeds. Okay, so the iQOO 9 Pro runs on Android 12 with Vivo's FunTouch OS 12 on top. FunTouch has improved by leaps and bounds over 2 years ago. It is now a software that mostly resembles Android that we know, and as you can see, the animations are really smooth. Now another thing I really like about FunTouch OS is highly customizable. Like if you jump into dynamic effects, you have a bunch of customization options here. You can change, for example, the animations of the fingerprint icon. You can change the look of the fingerprint scanning icon, but also the animation. You can jump into home screen transition animation, and you can change. And then if you jump into shortcuts and accessibility, then you have a lot more stuff. You have S capture. This is Vivo's shortcut gestures to grab screenshots. Another useful feature is quick action. This allows you to immediately jump into an app or jump into an action without unlocking the phone first. So you can set anything here, you can customize and to launch an app too, but I will set record audio. So how you activate this is when the phone is locked like this, you just have to long press on the volume down button and it will begin the action. So I'm gonna long press. It has already begun recording. So now when I jump into the phone, you see it is already recording audio. iQOO also built in a pretty useful gaming menu that you can activate by pulling from the side like this. With a Snapdragon Gen 8, obviously gaming is absolutely no issue. You can play everything, you know, even graphically intensive game at the highest setting without worrying about stutters. This is among the most powerful Android phones out there. And now of course you have a stereo speaker.
좀 뭔가 멋있게 표정도 약간 마마님은
So yeah, this is the iQOO 9 Pro. Like I said, this is a premium flagship phone. It almost keeps up with the other proper flagships that you're gonna get from BBK this year, like the OnePlus 10 Pro, the Oppo Find X5 Pro, or the Vivo X70 Pro Plus. The only thing missing here is a proper zoom lens. And I guess the ultra wide camera, I'm not a fan of that 150 degree sensor. Not a huge problem for most people. If you're getting this phone for gaming, for battery life, for the screen, for the BMW branding, you're not gonna go wrong with this. And I think the price of this will be a little bit more affordable than say a Galaxy S22 Ultra or the Oppo Find X5 Pro. So this is it for my review of the iQOO 9 Pro. I have more content coming up. It's a busy month, so please stay tuned and stay healthy, okay? Take care.